Ever since I moved into my own room, strange things have been happening. At first, I absolutely loved my new room. It finally felt like something that truly belonged to me. I had spent weeks planning it. I chose the wall colors myself, picked out decorations that matched my personality, and arranged the furniture exactly how I wanted it. The bed sat against the far wall. My computer desk was placed near the window, and beside it was my black computer chair that rolled easily across the wooden floor. When everything was finally finished, I decided to celebrate by inviting a few friends over for a sleepover. We stayed up late laughing, watching videos, and talking about random things. The room felt warm and full of life. The next morning they all left, and that's when things started to change. That evening, my dad and I were sitting in the living room watching Family Guy. I remember laughing at something on the TV when something outside caught my attention. Through the corner of my eye, I saw someone pass by my bedroom window. At first I thought it was just a shadow, but when I turned my head, I clearly saw the figure of a teenage boy walking past the glass. He had jet black hair and pale skin. I immediately stood up. "Dad, I'll be right back," I said. I went to the front door and looked outside. There was no one there. The street was completely empty. I told myself it must have been my imagination. But over the next few days, something strange kept happening. Every evening, at almost the exact same time, the boy would pass by my window. Always walking, always silent. And every time I rushed outside to check, there was never anyone there. One night, I was lying in bed trying to fall asleep. The house was quiet. My dad had already gone to sleep, and the only sound in the room was the faint hum of my computer. Just as I was starting to drift off, a sudden noise snapped me awake. Rattle. Rrr. It sounded like something slowly rolling across the floor. At first I thought I was dreaming, but then I heard it again. My alias opened. Slowly, I pulled the blanket away from my ears and sat up. My heart instantly dropped. My computer chair was right beside my bed. It had been at the desk before I went to sleep, but now it was only a few inches away from me, and for just a split second, it looked like a figure sitting in the chair had just faded away. I completely panicked. I jumped out of bed and ran down the hallway to my dad's room. Dad, get up now," I yelled. He groaned and turned over. "Amy, this better be important," he muttered. I explained everything as fast as I could and dragged him to my room. But the moment we turned on the light, everything was normal. The computer chair was back at the desk. My bed was perfectly made. My dad sighed in frustration. "You're imagining things," he said. I begged him to let me sleep in my old room, but he refused. Reluctantly, I climbed back into bed. But that night, I barely slept, because every time I closed my eyes, I heard whispers, very quiet voices, like someone was standing right next to my ear. The next day, I made a decision. If my dad thought I was imagining things, I would prove him wrong. That night, I invited my friends over again. We turned off every light in the house and used our phones to record videos, take pictures, and capture audio. At first, it was actually fun. We laughed and joked about ghosts. But nothing happened. Eventually, my friends went home. Still determined, I decided to try again alone. I sat in my dark room recording everything. After about an hour, I finally turned the lights back on and checked the files. At first, everything looked normal. Then I saw something that made my stomach twist. In one of the photos, there was a pale boy's face standing behind me. His black hair hung over his eyes, and he was staring directly into the camera. My hands started shaking. Then, I listened to one of the audio recordings. At first, there was silence. Then a faint voice appeared, a boy's voice, whispering something I couldn't understand. I couldn't believe it, but he made a de proof. Excited and terrified at the same time, I saved everything onto my memory card so I wouldn't lose it. When my dad got home later that evening, I grabbed my phone to show him. But when I opened the files, everything was gone. The photos, the recording, deleted. I felt confused, angry, and scared all at once, so I didn't even bother telling my dad about it. That night, when I went to bed, something even worse happened. The room suddenly became freezing cold. Not just cold. Cold, ice cold. I could see my breath forming in the air. This made no sense. The heating had been on for hours. The house should have been warm. A strange feeling crept up my spine, tense thenly. Two icy hands wrapped around my neck. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. I couldn't breathe. A cold breath brushed against my ear, and then I heard a voice. A young boy's voice. Right behind me. "Don't ever tell people I'm here," he whispered, "or else I will keep squeezing your neck." I slowly nodded my head. Una blit to move. The hands loosened. The breathing stopped, and the room slowly warmed again. I sat there, frozen in fear. Ever since that night, the breathing still fills my ears. The boy still walks past my window. And sometimes, late at night, my computer chair still rolls across the floor. But I had to tell someone.